She only knows beauty. Hoya KSB01. Bam bam. This is one of the first plants that really initiated my love for plants. I didn't think about how this was gonna work. Okay. Hey guys, it's me. I hope you are doing well. I know it's been a minute since I posted. The reason why I wanted to post the video is because I simply got an itch to post. And so I thought about, you know, what better to talk about than my plants, since they have been bringing me lots of joy recently. I will talk about an alocasia, several Hoyas, as well as one philodendron plant. And I guess we'll just see how the video goes. I'm one of those planty people that was birthed in the midst of COVID epidemic, you know, transitioning from going to work every day to now working remotely. You know, I was spending a lot of time staring at my walls. And that's how I slowly but surely got into plants, and it turned into an obsession. Certainly nothing that I thought would have withstood as long as it has. Some of the plants that I'm going to be showing you are from 2020. I have a purchase from 2023, and then I have some 2025 purchases and things along the way. So let me just go ahead and get into it. This is my Alocasia Frydek. This is one of the first plants that really initiated my love for plants. This one and a Hoya 𝘊𝘆𝑚, which I still have. I got this in 2020 off of a store on Etsy. I'll just tell you about her setup real quick. So that's what it's looking like. The very bottom has leca, and in between the leca and the soil mix I have a layer of sphagnum moss, and that's to keep the soil and the perlite and all those things from slipping into the leca and just kind of becoming densely packed. Then this thick string you see right here, it's not a root, but that's a string that goes all the way from the bottom of this jar all the way to the top, and that's what pulls water up into the soil here in which the plant drinks from. And I usually have, when I water it, I don't have the water levels go above here, above the leca. So right now the water is almost empty, and I just watered it 3 days ago. So this thing is very thirsty because of all of the plants that are growing in here. But originally, when I put her in here, it was just one plant. Just this one plant right here. And you can tell this is an older plant. You can tell that this is 5, almost 6 years old. What happened is when I stuck her in here, it was just this. She dropped all of her leaves. She had about 6 leaves at the time. She dropped all of her leaves, and she was just this stump for what felt like forever. And then finally she started to offshoot this one right here by the base. And this one is directly attached to the mother plant. So she started to offshoot this one, and then eventually she shot this whole new plant right up here. And then she gave me 2 more babies. This is not direct, these aren't directly attached to her, or at least attached to her base like this first one is. But this is a baby and this is a baby. So now I would consider this to be technically 4 plants in here. These plants give me anywhere from 4 leaves to 7 leaves max. I will tell you that the mother plant and the one attached to her, directly to her, give me more leaves. So they give me, I would say, 5 to 7 leaves, and then the smaller baby leaves give me 4 to 5 leaves. Yeah, so the more mature one definitely gives me an extra leaf or 2 more than these 2 younger ones that are not connected to the mother plant. Hey guys, this is Editing Kai. Something else I was thinking of when I was watching this. The mother plant and the attachment also are a little bit closer to the light. The babies are underneath them, so I'm wondering if it could have something to do with lighting as well. Something to note, and perhaps not maturity. I don't know. Or maybe it's a combo of both. I don't know. Other things, this thing is heavy, y'all. Okay. Now what I would say is, I'm gonna have to take her back out so I can show you this. She's in a jar that has a neck that's slightly narrower than the body of the jar, the container. So that's not going to be easy to get the soil and stuff out of. I may very well have to just break this with a hammer and then separate everything carefully and replant her. What I would recommend, if I was to do this again, which I'm gonna do, but I ended up getting a couple of these from Amazon with like different sizes or whatnot. But you can see it's just the same through and through. I think it's much easier to clean out, get the plant stuff out without having to break it. So lesson learned, but wanted to pass that on to you guys just in case you're thinking of this. Every year I've had her, she's hibernated during the cooler seasons. This year she did not hibernate at all. She kept on growing. Two of them just gave me a new leaf, and then the other two are pushing out new leaves as we speak. So she has grown pretty consistently throughout the winter time, which I think is interesting. And I do think it really loves the watering system, but I also think that it's because I'm giving it 12 hours of light. The reason why I'm impressed with that is because typically my ambient conditions have not been ideal for my plants, primarily being really dim lighting. So it can withstand the ambient temperatures in my home. So the room that she's in gets as low as the low 60s. And then during the day, right now it says 24 degrees Celsius. I don't even know, why is it even on Celsius? Hold on. Okay, so I have to fix that. So I'm not using humidifiers or anything like that. So the ambient temperature right now in the house is 75 degrees, 75.9. That's because the door's closed and I have the heater on. And it's 46% humidity. In the evenings, it will get into the low 60s, sometimes high 50s at nighttime. And during the day, as you heard, you know, mid 70s. For right now, usually it's actually pretty like low 70s. I've never found Alocasia to be picky when it comes to humidity. I think they like humidity, but they don't seem to grow in the absence of humidity poorly. I will show you guys the Barina lights that the plant is under. In case you're interested, I'll make sure to either put it in the description somewhere or create an Amazon storefront. And so I'm going to use this as a transition actually to talk about the next plant, which is my Philodendron Columbia. And because that also shares a light with this beautiful Alocasia. Can you guys even see me at this point? I don't even know how to get her in frame. Oh, hold on. I didn't think about how this was gonna work. Okay. This is my Philodendron Columbia. And I got her from 𝘊𝘮𝘠𝘃 back in 2023. It only took me 3 years, but I think I figured her out. And she is now starting to thrive. Look at the last 2 leaves she's given me. The leaves, you guys, are like umbrellas. They're huge and they're beautiful. So let me just show you her leaves again. And let me show you the rest of the plant. This one grew up against the wall, so she got squished. Really hard for me to actually figure out how to show this to you. So I'm going to tell you like this. Hopefully you'll be able to follow my story. So these not so happy leaves that I have here, these leaves, this little group right here, these were part of the plant and the plant that I had up until about last year. They didn't grow, they didn't die, they were very unhappy. They're in my living room, my dining room, which doesn't have a lot of bright sunlight coming in, or it has sunlight coming in, nowhere near enough for the plants. And so I got fed up and I was like, enough, I know the potential of this plant and I just haven't been able to experience it. Let me at least do a better job with the lighting in the home. So that's when I started investing in more expensive plant lights, but still plant lights that are not too break the banky. So here's what the plant looked like, underwatered and under lighted. So this was the last leaf that I had and that I've been holding on to for 2 years. So these 3 right here was the plant, or these 4 leaves, this was the plant for a long time. This was the last leaf that I had before I got improved lighting. So then I went from this leaf to now this leaf. All the size difference was entirely due to improved lighting. And then you can see how the leaf is scrunched up over here. I definitely had still an underwatering problem. So I kept the lighting going, and then I decided to focus on watering the plant. Well, then I got this beautiful leaf, but it's even bigger, but it was squished up against the wall. So it's taken that weird kind of form, but much bigger. Then I moved it, but then I adjusted my plants to make sure that they would get enough space to grow. And then this was, then this leaf, and then now with continued care, I have this leaf. that was really hard for me to tell with the size and all that stuff. So I hope you guys are able to follow me what I'm trying to share with you. So this plant completely transformed for me in a relatively short period of time when I improved the lighting conditions and then perfected the watering schedule, which was really just this self-watering pot, or a similar situation where it's like soil here, there's a wick that goes all the way through it that pulls water from the bottom, and there's like a little pool of water that sits here at the bottom. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys that beautiful plant. It's my Philodendron SP Columbia, or Philodendron Columbia. And then also the one thing I will say about all of my philodendrons, they all get these little sticky sap-like things all over the plant. And my understanding is that that's to attract ants. Oh my God, that would drive me nuts if that was going on in my house. These are all indoor plants, so I'm glad that that has not come to be. But it's also a sign of happy plants, and this plant didn't have that. I mean, these leaves certainly don't have it, not the older ones, but these new ones, they definitely have it. So anyway, now I'm going to switch yet to another genus of plants. I'm going to be talking about Hoyas. There's 6 or 7 Hoyas that I'm going to be sharing with you today, and talking to you a little bit about why I got them, my history with them, anything that might be helpful or just interesting for you guys to know about them. I'm going to be sharing that for the next however long this video is. And something to note, they all live in greenhouses indoors. They're the IKEA cabinets turned greenhouses. So I have like some tall 𝘗𝘗𝘠𝘗𝘠, if I'm remembering correctly, and some short wide ones. So the first one is my Hoya Sarawak, or also known as Hoya dinner plate. Here's what she looks like. And I've had her for several years. This leaf that I'm holding right here is literally 6 inches long and 4 inches wide. So that's just to give you perspective of how big these leaves are, because they don't look that big on camera, at least not to me, but they're quite large in person. Now I understand why they're nicknamed dinner plate. But I will tell you a little bit about this plant. She started thriving when I put her in the greenhouse last year. Now she has bloomed for me before, didn't last long. I've also dropped a plant light on her. Well, I didn't. The plant light fell when I was gone for hours. I came back and she was sun stressed as all heck. She was much smaller then, super sun stressed, but she was this beautiful red color. And once I kind of fixed the whole lighting situation, it took several months, but she did change back to all green, which I think is beautiful. But I will say, I think this plant sun stresses beautifully, like a dream. She didn't do anything for me for years. When I mean years, like she wasn't growing, she wasn't nothing. And you know, nowadays everyone talks about flat mites. When I first started getting into plants, nobody was talking about flat mites. It's never been a concern for me. But it wasn't that she had flat mites. She didn't have flat mites. My biggest issue for all of my plants was lighting. Lighting, I think, is more important than even a watering schedule. That's just my opinion. But so yeah, she's come a long way. She's really beautiful. She is a thirsty one. She will drop peduncles if you don't water her appropriately real quick, and I've learned that multiple times. She'll abort project if she doesn't have the water and hydration she needs, and she's very thirsty right now. But beautiful Hoya. Once you get the right conditions, she will thrive. She'll give you beautiful big green leaves, and she's just a beautiful plant to look at, whether she's green or whether she's red. Love her. So the next one is my Hoya KSB01. There she goes right here. I got her because I think this is such a beautiful shade of green, and she has black margins. She was also part of my first batch import that I got last year. Her visual story is pretty cool. So I got her, chopped her up, and propagated her in fluval. What I noticed with her though was I wasn't sure if she was going to make it or not, because her leaves were yellow, not like what you see now here. This is green. Her leaves were yellow. And I put her in fluval, and even after she started getting some roots and stuff, she was still kind of like this really like kind of like yellow and maybe a little bit green. But you know, I left her in fluval until the roots started to grow out or to the top of the fluval, and then I transferred her over to soil, and she struggled for a long time, particularly this chunk, struggled for a long time. And then all of a sudden, within maybe like the last month or two, it's really picked up, and I knew it was on the mend when I saw literally overnight this color went from like that yellow color to this beautiful green, and then shortly after it started to shoot this guy out. So it just gave me this one visually tells you when it's unhappy and when it's going through things through color. And while I thought the plant was dying, it for sure made it. That is so freaking neat, you guys. This was the other half of the chop and prop. These plants didn't seem to be as stressed out as that other one I'd showed you. Let me show you a close-up of what it looks like. Look how beautiful she is. I mean, look at this, right? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at the margins, like hello, like hi, hello. Look at the newest leaf on this bad boy. This is the newest leaf. And she's gorgeous. And then look at the margin. Yeah, this is what she's looking like. Stunning plant, stunning plant. She tells you when she's happy. They're both in different greenhouses, yet and still they seem to be on the same growing schedule, which is just something pretty cool to observe. I think that this plant is so beautiful. I hope that she blooms for me, and that she blooms for me very soon. Her leaves are so... She's got thick leaves. Her leaves remind me of the Callistophylla, like the thickest Callistophylla leaves that I have, because some are thicker than, way thicker than others. But yeah, real beautiful thick leaves. This one still hasn't even hardened up yet, so I think she's still gonna get a little bit bigger. I don't know if she's gonna get as big as the original leaves. Like this is one of the original leaves, which is pretty large. But I'm not complaining. I mean, this is the first leaf I've gotten from her since my purchase last May. And I'm thrilled to see that, you know, she's on the mend now. So she's pushing out 5 leaves from what I can see right now. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and on 4 stems. Yeah. Hoya KSB01. Bam bam. This is my Hoya Snow Queen. I think she is so beautiful. Mother's Day gift I got myself, Mother's Day 2025. And I find her to be easygoing. She has not bloomed for me yet, but I have a feeling she's gonna bloom for me this year. I purchased her because I just love the way Snow Queens look. I like how large their leaves can get. It actually looks very similar to me to Sarawak sometimes, and then like a 𝘓𝘓𝘓 too in terms of the shape of the leaves. Like this one is more elongated, kind of reminds me of like the 𝘓𝘓𝘓. And then when I have some of these big ones, it reminds me of like a big splashy Chelsea leaf, or, well, not quite Chelsea leaf, but it also reminds me of the Sarawak. Editing Kai here. Okay, so I looked it up. The Snow Queen, Hoya Sarawak, the 𝘓𝘓𝘓, they're all latifolia. So that makes sense, especially these ones. So just beautiful. I love her. Can't wait till she blooms. The leaves keep me plenty entertained. If she never bloomed, I would be really satisfied with her too, though, because I don't know. I just think she's so pretty. So I just wanted to show you guys her. She gives me no problems. Just water her and give her what she needs, and she, like, no problems. Just a really lovely plant. Yeah, it's my Facebook Market purchase, 30 bucks. Is that a ripoff? That's not. Is it good? She had 2 leaves. Okay, so I've got 2 plants I'm going to talk to you guys about together. This is my Hoya Finlaysonii in all her beautiful glory. And then this is my Hoya Callistophylla. I think I'm going to talk about Callistophylla first. I will say the Callistophylla to me is so freaking gorgeous. She has bloomed for me a lot. She has 1 peduncle, and this peduncle just keeps giving and giving. She's bloomed for me every summer since I've gotten her. And hopefully you can see that. You guys see the peduncle on top? So you guys see my finger, where my finger is? She's giving me so many beautiful blooms. And I can't remember which one smells like what, but both the Callistophylla and the Finlaysonii, their blooms to me smell citrusy, except one smells almost like lightweight, like lemon cupcakes, and the other one smells like lemon pine sol. Can't remember which one's which. My nose is allergy stricken most of the year, so I don't even know what I'm smelling half the time. So let me show you what she looks like. And you can see like different colors in the leaves, different leaf shapes. Her leaves are so thick, you guys, it's unreal. And then she surprised me because now she shot out some particularly big leaves. Like this is a really long leaf. This leaf is like 7 inches. This one here, 6 inches in length. So here's another, this one I believe it was like 6 or 7 inches. Yeah, now it's starting to shoot out like much bigger leaves. She's giving me this stem here. And one of the things that was pretty cool about her is when I put her in the greenhouse, she hasn't grown out a lot until recently with this stem. But what she has done is she's been filling in, just filling in. So she's a little bit more compact, I think, and less spready than the Finlaysonii, but she's gorgeous. Her leaves unreal. And here's something interesting about this plant, and it's really hard for me to oh, actually I might be able to show you. Do you guys see this right here? When I was watering my Finlaysonii or my Callistophylla, I picked up this part of the leaf to get the spout under in here, but I ended up breaking the whole base. So I got scared and I pushed it back together, and I left it alone for weeks. It healed itself and kept it pushing. So that was really nifty, you guys. This was another plant that didn't do anything for years. I'm not exaggerating, until I got her conditions correct. Not flat mites. I'm just saying. So Finlaysonii is one of my favorite, all of them, I love them so much. One of my favorite Hoyas. I love the prehistoric looking kind of leaves. I think she grows easily. She grows really fast. I think she's more forgiving than the Callistophylla in ambient conditions that aren't as favorable. This one has like 8, 9, 10 peduncles on her. I don't know how I can show you. Let me see if I can at least show you one. I see one kind of in the center. You guys see that peduncle in the center? This guy right here. So the peduncles on this plant have lasted forever. There's one here, there's one here, peduncle over here. So she has quite a few peduncles, and she's giving me more. Very beautiful, blooms all the time in the summer. Just really easygoing. Because of the size of the plant though, she's quite thirsty, so I'm definitely gonna have to water her today. But she's another one that while she'll grow really, really slow when the ambient conditions aren't ideal, she's really not going to do her best until you give her the conditions, which is, it's funny to say that. I mean, that's the truth for every plant, but I really needed to go through it, you guys, to believe it, you know, because then you start to think, are there bugs that you can't see? But I will tell you, I've never had a bug problem with any of my Hoyas. Never had mealybugs, never had spider mites, never had flat mites, thrips, never had any of that. Fungus gnats, yes, but now I bake my soil. I will like literally heat my soil up in the oven like I'm cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I'm gonna get it hot to get rid of all those eggs and kill all those eggs, and I've never had, those flies, I just said their name. Those gnats, whatever those things are, fungus gnats. I haven't had them since. Compare her just real quick to the Callistophylla. Now that I have both plants and I've had them for years, they don't seem the same to me. But at first when I got them, they seemed so similar. And in my mind, I was thinking either or, either or. No, you had to have both because they're both different. They both offer their own beautiful, unique things. Now between the two, when Callistophylla sun stresses, she just gets lighter for me. She turns into like a lighter shade of green. She has not turned red for me, from what I've noticed. Now with Finlaysonii, same lighting conditions. Finlaysonii will sun stress really quickly, but it doesn't seem to sun stress red. It would sun stress to me to like this burnt orange color. Not pretty. I thought it looked ugly. Not the color, but the way the leaves would sun stress. It wasn't like this even or even nicely patterned kind of sun stress. It looked stressed out. It looked stressed as hell. It looked like it needed, you know, it was tired. So, but I will say that when it was sun stressed with its flowers, I mean, all the colors and everything matched beautifully. I don't think I have a picture of that. I prefer this green than whatever sun stressing situation I had going on. So she sun stresses uglily. This does not, the Callistophylla, but it gets lighter green. I don't think lighter green is perhaps more beautiful than the deep green that I have in this. Some of these leaves, and I can't get in there because I'm not trying to break another stem, but some of these leaves on the Callistophylla, this is not black cat, but some of these have that black cat pattern that became famous. There goes those. So we have to talk about my Hoya Praetorii or Praetorii. She is gorgeous. She only knows beauty. Got her as a 2-leaf cutting, I think in September of last year. It's March like 3rd. It's March 5th now. So gave me this peduncle and it bloomed, and so I'll show you pictures of the bloom that I got. So absolutely gorgeous. And then look what she decided to do shortly after. She's really out here, you guys. Are you serious? This is the first Hoya ever in my history of collecting Hoyas in which I purchased it because of the flower or the bloom. And boy, she did not disappoint. I got her in September of last year, 2025. She gave me her first bloom end of January of this year. And then now we're in March and she's giving me a second peduncle that I am so excited to watch her bloom. And her leaves have just gone berserk. So look at the last leaf that I had, right? Look at these couple of, so I went small, then got bigger, then underwatered. You guys, I really struggle with my plants, all of them. Underwatered for a little bit. Then I got back on the watering schedule. Look at that. And then these are 2 new baby leaves that are coming in. They were really small yesterday. They're getting a lot bigger already. This is a beautiful plant, Praetorii. I got her off of Etsy. I'll put the store name. If she's still available, if her store is still open, I will put her shop on for you guys, or his, I don't know. Excellent customer service. Plant came amazing. It's a gift to be able to appreciate these plants, and this one really brought me joy. Down to my last Hoya, you guys. This baby right here is my AH027. So my first import from Thailand was last year, I think around May 2025, and I got this plant. This is one of 2. When I got her, she was a big plant and I chopped and propped her, and a lot of the little props didn't make it. Now 2 did, and this was one of them. This was the base plant, the base of the plant, and I thought, let me just go ahead and give it a try because it had this 1 leaf on there. And I don't know what it is, but the original leaf that came with it, this was one. They tend to be paler than the leaves that are growing with me now. But I left it and I was like, I'm just gonna water it and take care of her. And after several months now, she is giving me all right, you guys, so here is the rest of my Hoya AH027. She's doing really, really well. She's definitely thirsty. The first leaf I got with her in my care is this guy. This one's 11 inches. This one right here is 11 inches. First leaf in my care. And then because I didn't water her for a while, she was looking really bad. I wasn't sure if I was killing her for root rot or if she was underwatered. So I decided to just put her in water for a while. Don't ask me why. I just decided to put her roots in water for a while, and I left her there for a long time. She started giving me some vines, and then she gave me some of these smaller leaves, and I didn't want that. So I put her back in soil. This is the first leaf she's given me since being in soil, and there's definitely something going on that I've noticed. She gives me bigger leaves when she's in soil for sure over water. Did I add nutrients to the water? All I did was add a little bit of my own fertilizer in there, so I don't know if that worked or not. But soil, she seems to be happier in soil, and she's giving me a whole bunch of new leaves here. But let me show you her bloom, because this is the second time she's bloomed for me. And I think this is the only peduncle that I've had from her. And so she didn't come with a peduncle, she grew it. She's giving me a new leaf right here, which, you know, always brings me joy. She's giving me 2 new leaves here. This is a new recent offshoot that she's had. You see what happened when I underwatered her? The end here died. But Looks like she's gonna start growing new stuff soon. Now let me give you a close-up of her leaves. So this is the newest leaf, the first leaf it's given me since I've put her back in soil. This leaf was a leaf that grew when it was in soil. See, it's like much darker, really easygoing. I see her potential as far as leaf size. I'm sure it gets bigger than this even. So I'm thinking after a couple more months, her being in soil, I'll get bigger leaves. So you guys, that was it for my plants. Of the plants that I've shared with you, do you have a favorite? Or what are your tips and tricks for these plants that have worked well for you? Share it below, because we can all use some tips. Hopefully you guys appreciate, I don't know, you know, I wanted to post about my plants. I feel like I'm bursting to talk about them. And I don't really have anybody in my life who's as enthusiastic about plants as I am. So I'm gonna share this online with you guys, and I hope you guys appreciate me sharing a little bit of this passion. I am happy to answer any questions, so I've made it a commitment that when I post videos, at the very least, I'll keep an eye out on the comments for at least a week and answer all the questions that come to me within a week, so long as it's manageable. And right now, I doubt that I'm gonna get a lot of engagement, so I think it's going to be manageable. Or it could very well be that I just make another video inspired by the questions that I'm getting from you guys. But I am going to ask you to like my video, to subscribe, please. I never used to do that. I used to be a little gun shy to do that. Now I'm gonna boldly ask, please like and subscribe and engage with my content, because I find that encouraging and I'm more likely to come back and post more videos, you guys. So yeah, you guys, I hope you enjoy this. Of them all, Praetorii, stunning.